this exercise, we're going to make a bell. It's kind of an ornament kind of thing. You can put it on a package, or you can just say, I was forced to do this to be able to go on to the next project. For this exercise, we're going to create a bell. We're also going to use a Taurus on the top to make the hook. If you want, you can make a string and a clapper and stick it inside, or stick it on your Christmas tree, or whatever you want to do with it. Okay, so we're going to start out with a sketch and a line. We're going to choose a vertical plane, and we want our object to be 2 inches tall. So I'm going to start at the center line, and I'm going to go down roughly 2 inches. If it's not exact, it's okay. Click on the green check or hit enter to complete the line. For our next line, we're going to use a spline. So I'm going to go to the spline tool under sketch. I want to make sure that I start on that first point as the top of the line. And now I'm going to click along the route to make the curvature of the bell. And when you get down to the bottom, you click on the line and click on the green check or hit enter. If you've got a spline that's kind of in the wrong place, you can move them around once we stop sketching and get things tidied up a little bit. If I finish my sketch by going to line one more time, I'm going to start at the origin, and I'm going to go across to the white dot. And once I've done that, you'll see that the object is now shaded in. The sketch shades in once I've completed the connection between all 3 of those points. Then I'm going to choose Stop Sketch, and I'm going to click on Front. And if I need to, I can change the curvature a little bit by moving the various points on the spline until I like the way my bell looks. If I need it to be a little more bell-shaped. That's pretty ugly. Alrighty, so once I'm done creating my bell shape, the next thing that I need to do is revolve. I need to make a solid bell. So I'm going to go to my Create menu and choose Revolve. On the Revolve menu, I need to select my profile, and that's what I just created. Then I need to select my axis, and I'm going to click on the green vertical axis, and I now have a bell. Notice it says the angle is 360 degrees, so it went all the way around. If I only wanted half, I could have chosen half. I also have one side because it's going around in one direction, and I'm creating a new body. I'm going to click on OK, and I now have my bell body. Over here on the options selector in the browser, if I click on the drop down button, you can see for bodies that I have one body, and we're going to call this main. And if I click on it once, click on it again, try again, click on it slowly twice for rename, I can call this main if I wanted to. Now, I have a bell, and I can orbit it and do stuff with it. You can see that the bell is there. And I'm going to go back to the front. If I've changed to orbit, I can hit the escape key to go back to sketching. That's probably the most common thing that you do, is forget to turn off the orbit by hitting the escape key. Okay, now, next thing we need to do is shell out the bell. So to shell the bell, I'm going to rotate using that orbit down so I can see the bottom. Click on the bottom of the bell, right click, and you should have shell there as an option. You can also choose it from the modify menu. I'm going to be shelling this to 0.05 inches. Make it nice and thin, and now you can see the bell is hollow on the inside, solid on the outside. And again, we're going to just go back up to our home position and front, and I'm looking at my bell. Okay, so the first thing we did was created this bell, and it's a solid. The next thing we did was shell it out so that I've got a nice empty shell. Now I need to cut the top and bottom off my bell. To cut the top and bottom off, I'm going to go back to Sketch and Line. I need to choose the surface or plane that I want to work on. Okay, I'm back at my front. I can scroll down, or I can grab my pan and drag my bell down into the middle of the screen a little bit better. Right, now I'm going to go back to my sketch. Choose stop sketch because we want to get back. If we want to be on just select, not sketch, I want to go back to sketch and choose line. I'm going to click on the plane or surface that I want. That's the front of the bell. And I'm going to cut off the bottom slice. And it can be, you know, 1/10 of an inch is all we care about. Just one bottom slice. All we're doing is drawing a line. Now I'm going to go to modify. And what I want to do here is split body. This will allow you to take a 3-dimensional body and cut it along a line. So the body to split is this one. The splitting tool is that line that I created. And I'm going to click on OK. And I've now split the bottom of the bell from the main part of the bell. If I right click on it, I can choose hide. Notice the bulb has turned off. And it says main 1. And if I click on it twice slowly, I can get to rename. And I'm going to type bottom here just to help me. As your parts get more elaborate, it helps to be able to label stuff. If I want to turn the bottom on, click on it, light bulb on, light bulb off. Now, next I need to cut the top off. So I'm going to do the same thing. Line. Click on the bell. And I'm going to need to scooch this down a little bit so that I can see the top of the bell. Again, turn off the pan tool by the escape key. And I'm going to draw a line across the top of the bell. And again, it doesn't matter how long it is, I just need to make sure that it's down some from the top of the bell. Now I do the exact same thing again. Modify, split body. The body I want to split is the bell. Splitting tool is the line. Click on OK. And now the top of the bell is also blocked out. So I've got my main, it says main 1, bottom, main. This main at the top isn't really the main, that's actually the top. So let's rename it top. Okay, now turn them all off. I can turn on the bottom, turn on the top, turn on the main, and all I want to see is the main part of my bell. This is the part that we're going to slice up and have it turn into the lattice work. The next thing we need to do is project. So first thing we did was we created a solid and we used that split solid. Now we're going to click on a solid and project this outline so that we can work with it. On the sketch menu, you're going to choose project. We want to click on the planar surface, that's the bell body. Now this is the tricky part. Here we want to make sure we choose bodies because the body is what we want. We don't want a specific line, we just want the whole body. So click on the body. Notice that it's got dots here and here and an outline. Click on OK. And let's turn the main body off. And you'll see now that when we turn the main body viewing off, we have a projection of that body. We're looking just at a sketch now. And if I click on my sketches in my browser, this is the sketch that I'm working with. All right? Now, once we've got the sketch, we're going to draw some lines. And again, these are all just simple exercises to learn the tools that you need to work in Fusion. I'm going to go back to sketch and go back to line. My first line should be somewhere around the top and center. I'm going to be just a little off the center, and you can experiment, but I want to be on the line. Click on the line, and we're going to go down at an angle. And again, you can experiment. You may want to do this part twice and get to what you want. Click on the line, My next point is over a little bit, and I'm going to go up some and click back on the line. Now, if I was good while I was dragging, it's going to show 2 parallel points there to show that these are parallel lines. If I didn't quite get them parallel, I can click on Stop Sketch, and I can go back to my sketch tools and tell it to make them parallel. But for my purposes, I want to go back here, and this object, I can change the dimensions on if I want to. And why is my sketch tool not coming up? I'm going to hit Edit Sketch. Now it's coming up. Right clicked on it, it shows Edit Sketch. I want to go to my sketch dimension, click on the first line, click on the second line, and drag up. Now, whatever the dimension comes up at, that's just what you said originally. I'm going to say 0.05 to make nice skinny lines. And now, when I hit the Enter key, my line's going to move so that they're now 0.05 inches apart. The key things we got to make sure of on this is that the lines come all the way to the top and they're parallel. For this exercise, they should be parallel. Right? If you didn't get those right, remember you've got that history down here, and you can back up by dragging the marker backwards. Go back various parts in your history, and if you stop sketch, then it'll move. Drag it backwards and get to any part that you're not happy with. You can also right click on an option and choose Edit Feature. For example, if you didn't shell this to the right thickness, you can go back and fix it. I'm going to hit Cancel and move back forward. All right. The next thing we need to do is we're going to extrude this line that we made. And we're going to extrude it through the actual bell body. So we're going to go back to the main part of our bell, turn it back on. And this takes a little coordination. We need to move our bell and rotate it so that we're looking at the inside. I should be looking at a shelled out bell and my 2 lines. If you're still in orbit, hit Escape. When I click on that skinny line, it should highlight and be showing you that it's just that part. We don't want that side or that side, we want that side. We're going to right click and choose Extrude. Now normally we extrude and just make something taller or shorter, but in this case we want to change our direction to symmetric, and it's very important that we choose for the operation, we choose intersect. And then I'm going to drag so that I drag that as far out as I can. I need to make sure that I've gotten completely through the bell with my dragging. I can't go too far. I need to make sure that I've gotten all the way out. When I hit the Enter key or OK and go back to the front, I should see that I've got this line. If I rotate it, you can see that by going through the surface of the bell, I created this funky little curvature. If you're not with me here, stop, rewind, go back and get things straight, because it goes pretty fast from here. Once you've got your body set up, and again, if you're in orbit, hit Escape. Now I want to go back and I'm going to create a pattern that is circular. I need to highlight the objects that I want, and I should have bodies selected. There should be 2 bodies. Select the axis, and again, we want that vertical axis. And the first thing it does is create a quantity of 3. That's 3 sets of that rotated line. And if I add more, you'll see as you add more and more, the bell will get that latticey look to it. This is kind of thin right here, so I'm going to keep adding some more. until I come up with something that makes me happy. The more you have, the longer it's going to take to print. So if you're just doing this exercise because you were forced to do fewer lines. I'm going to choose 14. Click on OK and go back to the front, and you should now see that lattice in place. Notice that as it goes through the curves, it creates those little extra things. Now, all these things that were created here are now turned on. I'm going to turn on the bottom, and I'm going to turn on the top. And when I do that, my bell is complete. I need this bottom because if you try to print just these little spindly things, if you turn that off for a second, if you try to print this, the 3D printer will have a really hard time with just these tiny little starting points, and you're not going to get a print that you're happy with. So we want that bottom ring to make it look better. And we also want the top, we want to have a place to put our torus. Right? Now, the ring in the top is going to allow us to hang up the bell. So I'm going to go to Create, make sure that the top is visible. Create, and I want a torus. That's a fancy name for a three-dimensional ring. Click on the torus, and we want to be in the vertical plane or on this face up here. The center point is going to be somewhere right above the top, and as you drag, I'm thinking that something around 0.33 is probably a good diameter. You can play around with yours and how deep it goes. Once you get the diameter of the torus, hit the Enter key. Now, it's currently on cut, that's why it's red, and we want it to be joined because we actually want that solid ring at the top. If it's not where you want it, you're going to have to move it around. Once you've got it where you want it, click on OK, and double check that it's in the center and that everything looks good. When you look on the inside, you'll see that it is sticking through the inside in the bottom also. This will not print very well there. Don't count on having this neat little ring. You could actually cut it off to make it easier for the printer. Alrighty, let's go home and bring it around the front. Last thing we need to do to be able to print this is we must use the combine option. This is a whole bunch of bodies. So I'm going to drag and select the entire bell. All of the bodies are now highlighted. When I go to modify, I'm going to choose combine. And this will take it a second because there's a lot of action going on here. Be patient. It says there's 29 tool bodies or however many you created. Make sure it's set to join. Click on OK. And again, it's going to take a second to get everything organized. You'll see down here that there's progress bar going on. And I now have one body all combined. And I have my little bell ready to print. To finish it up, you're just going to go to Make, 3D Print. Again, select, you've only got one object, so you're just going to select your object, click on OK, and it'll go out to Cura, and you're good to go.